All right, second time recording this. This is going to be a reaction to this guy and his two girlfriends, which is Haram. I guess he's trying to have a polygamous relationship, but I don't like even like the word. I only like to use multiple wives. I only like to call it that. But since he's only having girlfriends, then you have to go into polygamy and say that. Yeah, and we'll see what's right and what's wrong about this whole scenario. This is coming from a 23-year-old with multiple wives and multiple kids. This is the White Thobe. Let's go.
It's pretty light. What do you think?
Um,
You lift it first. Tell me, Mr.
you
Strong
take the
Man.
drawers out. I met Vanessa while I was in the military out in California.
Yep. He was haggling me for my phone number constantly.
Well, she finally gave me the time of day to take her on a date, and
After that, it was like hook on sinker. Right?
So notice how they're both wearing what they want to wear, and of course it's America, so they don't really have any. I don't think any religious basis behind this whole relationship. So they're going to wear whatever they want to wear. They're going to do whatever they want to do. They don't have a real structure on how this should go. It's just the man deciding everything as he goes along. I guess maybe he is looking at some different type of baseline rather than religion. I have no clue, but I think as though it goes off of his own mindset and his own mental wants and needs as he goes on. As you can see, the woman to the left is very stiff and she's not saying anything. She seems like she doesn't want to be there as well, or she doesn't want to be shown in this light. And I don't think most women in this type of relationship want to be shown or uh, put on social media and shown. I don't think any woman really wants to be shown in any sense, or ogled by the eyes of all these different people that they might not even know at all. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of wrong going on here that will lead to just bad things happening that you just can't foresee unless you have a baseline of what it should be and what you all agreed to. Maybe they all did agree to this type of relationship, but it's changing and changing and changing every day. It might seem like, and yeah, this is a tricky situation. I don't know if they have kids, but yeah, let's keep watching.
yeah, we practice polygamy, specifically polygyny. Polygamy is the umbrella term for a multi-person relationship. And in polygyny, it's geared more towards the male having separate wives. And that's what we're striving to do. I'm going to interior decorate and y'all work. My polygamy doesn't necessarily correlate to any religious beliefs. It was something that I did come across in some research on how tribes.
Yes, like I said, I don't think this comes from any religious belief, so that's another place that he's most likely messing up. He doesn't have like a religious basis on what should be taking place, his responsibilities, the woman's rights, his rights in a relationship, of what he needs to do, what needs to be provided to each one of these women at all times. And for the women, they don't have a real structure on how their rights on their husband or their rights on what they have to do as women. So when you try later on, if you do come around to wanting to push a more religious baseline, then I think it'll be harder than rather just coming in willy nilly and just wanting to live together and just trying to go off of the man's basis as if he is sort of God in this whole scenario, which is just bound to fail because we don't know anything without a relationship with our Creator, Allah. Let's continue.
And kingdoms were built where a king had multiple queens, and each wife played an intricate part in that king's life and in building and growing the kingdom. And it interested me. Put it over there on the other side of the couch.
Let's drop it and see it. I gotta see it.
I introduced polygamy to Vanessa about 3 years ago. 6.5 years into our marriage. And the response that I received from her was a flat, pure, unadulterated no.
I don't know.
Okay, so this was brought up later in their marriage. So he is married. So it was brought up later after he was already married, which is a tricky situation, especially since you don't have a religious baseline saying that this is a right of a man in life. If you're going to marry a man, then you understand that sometime he may want to take another wife at any moment. So, unless you have talked about this before your marriage, of saying, as a woman, I truly 100% do not want this. And if it happens, then she must take her own actions against this. Okay. If she says that and the man agrees to still go on into the marriage, then what can he say when that time comes and everything falls apart? When she actually does take the actions against what she said she was going to do. Same for the man when he comes into it and he tells her, down the line, I most likely want to have another wife or another. I want to have multiple wives, 4 wives, up to 4 wives. And if she agrees to that, then what can be said when it happens? Well, I told you what I was going to do, and I told you I was going to have multiple wives in my life, and that's that was going to be that. But in this scenario, he's bringing this up 6 years after the fact, and if she says no, then she really has any right to just bounce because it wasn't brought up to her. Knowing she's getting into a marriage thinking it's going to be me and you, but then you bring this up down the line without any religious basis, just off of your thinking of what you saw online, is it's not good. It's not good, especially if she doesn't follow any religion either. Both of you guys, you're just going off of what each other feels. Not good.
I was so used to it being in the middle of the couch.
Tag team. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's girls against boys today.
I thought it was more for you than it was for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That was the biggest stigma that I had to get over.
All right, white one.
I knew absolutely nothing about polygamy. It took me a lot of learning, background, history, everything to actually understand the benefits of it. I realized I would have somebody who has my back with not only my children, with my husband, with my house, with everything.
Okay,
So we agreed to give it a try.
making me hop, skip, and jump now. Skitty.
Okay, what do you mean give it a try? I think their understanding of what's going on is is not on the same track. Even after 3 years of giving it a try, that's not what you do. You don't give it a try. It is what it is. You get married. You get married and you stay married. That's what it is. Give it a try. You Yeah, so this must be a girlfriend or multiple people they've been trying out and trying to convince into this type of lifestyle. You can't convince anyone into this life. All you can do is tell them what you're going to do and what you want. And if they agree to go with that, then that's all you can do. There is no seduction into this. Or, well, she likes how he looks, or he likes how she looks, and he tries his best to convince her. No, that's just going to lead up to the next day or the next time something goes wrong to her just being like, okay, enough of this. This is too much for me, which it was in the first place. That's why you shouldn't have tried to convince her. It it's a certain it takes a certain type of scenario, a certain type of woman, and a certain type of scenarios for the man as well to make it make sense to get married again. Like, really, you should really get married to a widow, a divorcee, um, a woman, a single mother with children maybe out of wedlock. Life happens. These are people who are in not need, but they are in a strong want of having a husband or having a male to help them in their life. These are the type of people and scenarios that you really should be taking on, not multiple women who've never been married, never been divorced, don't have any kids. You shouldn't be marrying 3 or 4 types of those women. Why? That's not helping society. That's taking away from the potential of her being with those type of women who've never been with anyone or never been divorced, never been married at all, taking them away from other men. At the end of the day, this is Islam. This is supposed to be beneficial for us as the Muslim Ummah. Every woman should have a husband and every husband should have a wife, right? We should want all our brothers, Muslim brothers, to have wives, of course. So you shouldn't take multiple women who are just virgins who never been to anywhere, done anything. No, taking 4 wives like that. No, brother. That's not the way it should go. You should take women with children, women with multiple children, women who need help. These are the people you should be going after, not, like I said, the first scenario. But yeah, it seems like they're not on the same page of giving it a try. There's no giving it a try. You get married. You get married. You get married. You do what you did with the other woman. And if you're not going to do that, then you need to avoid this at all costs.
Because I'm gonna drop it. 3.5 months later, Kayla came along.
I met Kayla at a lounge. I was providing security for a friend, and she ran the money box, we called it. The first night that I met her, she didn't know that I knew the owner, which was my friend, which was her friend as well. I was like, hey, he said I could get in for free. And she goes, get in.
Stop. Male, female friends. That's a sign, brother. That's a sign. That was her friend? Huh? The lounge owner was her friend? I'm gonna just let that stay in the air for a second. The lounge owner was her friend? How many of these friends does she have? Before you try to start a strong, real relationship where you could potentially have children, where you get married. She knows the owner. This is her friend, a male, a guy with some sort of influence, some sort of ownership. You didn't see anything wrong. And then at the same time, he was in a lounge. So if you're in that type of environment looking for a woman, okay, good for you then. But yeah, you're probably gonna go about it in the wrong way and end up in shame and hardship for both parties, male and women.
Free? Ain't nobody getting in for free tonight, but she went in on me. I'm like, hey,
I was just doing my job, man.
I think that is the end of that. I think there was a longer video online, but this was the one I found. But yeah, there was plenty of things wrong with their scenario. It seems like a very much of a joke, very much of playing around, not taking it very seriously. Oh, one day it's here and one day it's not. One day it's good, one day it's bad, and everything falls apart. It seems like it's on a very thin rope. Very thin rope. Um, yeah. So don't do that. Get married. Get married again. Do it halal. Do it by a basis of a religion. Do it in the right way. All right, guys. This is coming from a 23-year-old with multiple wives. The white thobe. Salam alaikum wa rahmatullah.